I always like to find these little Jeep Easter eggs.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LJ's Garage. I know I've been gone for a little bit, but I am back. And I am sitting in a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. This is a pretty solid, well-equipped trim. And for those of you that want a Wrangler on somewhat of a tighter budget, you got my blessing on this one. So I'm going to give you guys a walk-around tour, talk about the inside, the outside, some of the specs, and show you guys why I like the Wrangler Sport S. I don't wanna The Wrangler has been around for so long, there is not much of the legacy and history that I need to talk about. It is capable, it is able, it is it is capable and able and ready to work. So the legacy of the Wrangler, the Jeep name, this is what made Jeep who it is today, or who they are today, or who it is today. And so I'm not going to dive too much into that, but for 2024, this interior, this whole setup, I'm impressed so far. As many of you know, the Wrangler is available in a 2-door and a 4-door option. It used to be called the Wrangler Unlimited, but now it's just the 4-door Wrangler. So after you've selected whether you want 2-door or 4-door, the next thing will be your powertrain. You've got a 6-speed manual, or you have an 8-speed automatic. And I'm not gonna make fun of you for choosing the wrong transmission or the right transmission, but I would say that if I were you, I would consider the 6-speed. But that's because I had a 6-speed Wrangler, and I liked it, I loved it. And then you're gonna have the option of which engine you want. There are 4 different engines to choose from. You've got the 4xe, well actually let me back up, let me start at the end. You've got the 3.6 liter V6, which is the tried and true, been around for years. Jeep uses it in pretty much about everything, same with Dodge, Chrysler, all of that. So it's a solid engine, it makes good power, 285 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. And surprisingly, gas mileage in the Wrangler is not bad at 17 city, 25 highway. And of course, realistic world numbers, if you drive this thing like a maniac, you will probably be getting less than the 17 and significantly less than the 25 on the highway. These aren't aerodynamic. However, over the years, Jeep has worked to progressively make the Wrangler a little bit more aerodynamic. We'll step on the outside and talk more about the outside features in a little bit. I'm not going to talk about the 4xe or the 392 V8 because most people aren't going to be buying those at this price point because they add a little bit of cost to this whole Wrangler equation. So today I'm just going to talk about the 3.6 liter V6 and then the 2 liter 4-cylinder option. You may be thinking, I don't want a 4-cylinder in the Wrangler, but let me tell you this 4-cylinder is turbocharged, 270 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. It actually does 0 to 60 faster than the 3.6 liter V6, believe it or not, and that 35-ish more torque that it has, you will feel that. I will at least. I don't know, maybe not. If you do feel it, you'll know. If you don't, the butt dyno thing. So now that we've talked specs, towing capacity, that's the other thing. So the Wrangler 2-door doesn't have great towing capacity, but it's not bad either. If you're someone who has an ATV or 4-wheelers, you know, small toys, then that's actually a great option. So 2,000 pounds is the towing capacity. But if you do want something with a little bit more towing capacity, one, the Wrangler is probably not it for you. But if you do, there is the 4-door Wrangler, and that's a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. So, you know, do with that as you please, but it's not the worst, it's not the best. It's just enough for pulling some, like I said, ATVs, jet skis, whatever you got. But if you're going out on the lake, let me know, I want to come with. If you were to buy a Wrangler Sport S, just as is, no other options, you're starting at about $35,000. So with adding a few things, which I'll talk about a couple key packages that I think are worthwhile, such as the convenience package, because then you'll get things like the heated seats, the blind spot monitoring, those type of things. But overall, even just as its base setup, I think this is well equipped and a world different than what the previous generations of Wranglers gave you. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck in my honest opinion. So I'm gonna hop outside. We'll talk about that exterior first, and then I'll give you guys a quick run through of some of the key features that I think that you guys might want, and talk about the packages that this one has that I think that are worth the money. Everyone's budget is different, and what everyone thinks is worthwhile is completely different. For example, if you want to spend $195, you can get the door off mirror package that allows you to have mirrors to put where your doors are when you take them off. But if you've been around the Jeep community, you know that aftermarket is crazy. There's so many options, and I know that on my previous Wrangler, I think it was maybe less than $100. I had 2 little side mirror things that I put in, and it worked great. So I'm not saying don't spend extra $200 at Jeep, but just be careful if you are someone that plans to do some modifications and upgrades. Don't buy the fully loaded Wrangler and then strip off everything and then add more money. I don't know. Work smarter, not harder. Save your money. Before I hop out, I just want to show you guys what this interior is like, so you guys can kind of see a little bit of it and understand that I'm trying to tell you guys that Jeep has come a long way. They're working on things, and the Wrangler is actually a nice place to be now. The first thing that I want to talk about are these 17-inch wheels. You get some nice off-road-ish inspired tires that actually have pretty good on-road manners, and then you still got your typical Jeep look. So all of this is standard, nothing new, no crazy redesigns. Unfortunately, with this package, Jeep still does do halogen headlights, and you have to upgrade to get LEDs, but it's not the worst thing, and it makes things okay. Same with the running lights, side markers, all of that, pretty typical, nothing different there. Underneath, you have a little bit of a plastic skid plate right under here. So it's just a little cover, but it's not the off-road rugged steel skid plates that you would see on like the Rubicon or the Saharas, anything like that. But this Sport S is solid. You're not going to be missing out on too much. And I don't say that too often about Wranglers, but I'll show you why when I get inside and show you how this one's optioned out. Here's our cargo space. I'll move this out of the way so you guys can see. But yeah, not much to talk about. Got a little subwoofer down in here. Give you some bass, and you can see that is all weather. But otherwise back here, that is all you get as far as cargo space. It ain't much. And then a little Jeep Easter egg right here, you can see. Got this little side panel that gives you, you know, some stuff. So you can see some stuff. This is built in Toledo, Ohio. So that brings me to my next point. If you are in the Dayton area, so Springfield, Ohio, be sure to stop in and check out Jeff Wrangler Jeep over here in Springfield, and stop in and ask for Dylan, Marcus, Cody, any of those guys. They're awesome, and they will help you with all your Jeep needs, and Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, all of it. All right, let me go ahead and close this up. You guys can see you get a nice spare back there. Got your little tow hook, but this thing is solid. And I would drive the 2-door all day, every day, because I like smaller cars and smaller vehicles. The ride height in this is awesome. The visibility is pretty great, and it's easy to park. So yes, you're not going to have all the parking features that modern cars have, but you're going to have just enough. And again, with such a small, short wheelbase, you're going to be able to park this with ease. This goes without saying, but of course the Wrangler doors are removable. As you can see from the soft top, this is a soft top convertible. And yes, this is a convertible. And before I hop in and talk more about that convertible, I'll show you guys how much room you get in the back. So getting in and out of this is not easy. I definitely suggest either optioning this with running boards or aftermarket, getting some nice running boards there. But you can still get your kids in pretty easily. And as you can see, this is your back space. All right, good thing I stretched today. Oh boy. Hopefully you guys didn't have me on speaker, because that probably sounded weird. But I'm in the back seat. We've got these little vents for the rear occupants, and they're pretty easy, nice, whatever. Cup holders down there, of course. Come on, camera, focus. But otherwise back here, got your little subwoofers and the speakers and all this stuff built in right there. And that's about it. Just like that, you're looking out the rear end. So, you know, there's enough room back here for no activities, but for people, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'm sure somebody can still do activities back here, but for the most part, this is what you get in the Wrangler. Nice cloth seats. And before I move up front again, I'll talk about these latches. Like I said, just latch here, put this down, latch here, and then you're able to remove your sun convertible right there. So pretty easy. You can see it's got directions and a little QR code so you can watch a video for you noobs. I will say this, ignore the sweat, I was watching Cops. The Wrangler has a special place in the history of cars. It will always be respected. No matter what trim of Wrangler you have, you'll always be considered part of the Wrangler Club, and that makes you cool. So don't ever feel pressured to buy a Sahara or a Rubicon, or even that crazy High Tide over there. If you don't need that much Jeep, don't buy that much Jeep. Stick with what you need. And again, that's why I recommend the Sport S. End rant, wipe sweat, moving out to the... I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot of work to get out of this. I am not built for this life. All right, so I'm back up front, and in the Wrangler, everything feels good. I mean, what they've done, these nice little touches, even this gold stitching, I like it all. And I'm surprised to say that the conversation I had before getting in here was, I'm not a huge Wrangler fan. However, this has changed my mind, and $44,000 as this one is optioned. It has a couple extra packages to make this just a hair above a Sport S. So this is not bare bones, you know, Wrangler, because you could get one of those with wind-up windows and all that stuff still. So anyways, let's get to the tour. You can see up here you've got semi-digital gauges. As I flip through this, you'll see that you're getting all the basic information that you need. You can control most things from here actually, and see most things from here. But at the end of the day, if you just want to use this as a nice little digital gauge, you're more than welcome to. So just leave it on the speedometer and enjoy life. That's what I do in mine, at least. Over here, you can see your side mirrors. These are heated, and unfortunately, they do not fold, but they are power operated. So you can see down here, you've got your controls you've got all your lighting controls. So you do have, you know, auto high beams, all of that good stuff. So it's a nice touch to be able to have these things in your Jeep. Sorry guys, you'll have to do with the voiceover unfortunately because my audio went missing. But on the steering wheel, you're gonna have your radar cruise control. And then on top of that, on the back, you'll have these little buttons to allow you to change songs, rewind, control the volumes, all of that. Take a look at your rear view camera, pretty crisp. Jeep's done a good job with, you know, finally updating this camera just a hair, enough to make a difference in my mind. With this nice screen, you're gonna have dual climate control, and everything is pretty responsive. No issues with this Uconnect. I think it's Uconnect 5 system. You got heated seats, heated steering wheel, so you get a little bit of a niceness finally in this modern era. And then you're gonna also have off-road pages. I don't know too much about them. And it does show you whether or not your transfer case is locked or unlocked, all of those things. You'll be able to see all these different gauges to, you know, keep an eye on your oil temp, coolant temp, oil pressures, battery voltage, those things. All really good information on a really nice screen. Then here, this is kind of like the home page where you can add little shortcuts, see the temperature outside, which now you guys can see why I was sweating. It was 84 degrees outside, so you know, it wasn't just watching cops. And then on the home page, this is where you'll be able to customize, kind of put your widgets where you want them, and, you know, real customizable, real easy to use. Not a single complaint about this system. One of my praises, though, is that you can do the climate control settings all from the screen, or if you're someone like me who doesn't always love that, you can take your eyes down here and you'll see that you have physical buttons for pretty much everything climate, and I love that Jeep does that, and I will continue to say that in every video in case they do see that and they realize that customers do like that. So the next thing to talk about is safety and driving assistance features. So automatic emergency braking is all you're really gonna get. As I said before, no blind spot monitoring, none of those other bells and whistles for safety, but you do have a really cool feature. It's tire fill assist, and all that does is, let's say you're on a trail with an air compressor but no gauges, once the tires reach their, you know, PSI, it'll beep and let you know you're there. And if you ever get lost, you can push this little I for more information, and it'll tell you kind of what everything does as you're in this section. Moving on down, you'll see that you've got your Windows switches right there, a couple different USB ports, 12 volt outlet, you know, nothing really crazy, the standard stuff that you would find on any modern car these days. So I won't dive into any of those features. You have a little cubby right under that for storage. And then your shifter, 8-speed automatic on this one. And then this is where you would find your 4-wheel drive controls, 2 cup holders, emergency brake, which is still manual, and a really nice center storage compartment, along with another USB charge port. And I don't know exactly what kind of camo that is, but if I had to guess, it looks like it's supposed to be like leaves and kind of like a floral print camo. So if you guys know what that is, let me know down below. But I kind of like it, and I wish they used it in more places. It's really not all that fancy, but for some reason, it just works for me. Moving on over to the right hand side, you'll know that you've got this handle right here, and this is called the OSHIT handle. And so it's for emergencies when you're doing crazy off-road things. Then you've got this nice little glove box, and inside of the glove box you'll find a manual. It's the Jeep Wrangler handbook for Jeep Wrangler needs. So that's about it on that side, but overall, you know, it's got a lock on there, so when you take the doors off, you can keep your stuff safe inside. But if you're a experienced Jeep owner, you know, don't leave anything inside your car if you're going to leave the doors off. But if you do, you can at least lock them in the glove box. Now, I'm not saying this is the perfect trim or the most well optioned, you know, way to go, but for me, at this price point with these features, I don't think anyone should be buying a car these days without heated seats, for example, keyless entry, you know, remote start, those type of things in 2024. If you're buying a car brand new, I think those are things that I can't live without. So this is just LJ's opinion, and you guys can do whatever you want with that, but share your thoughts. Let me know how you would change this Wrangler. I didn't want to bore you guys with all my driving stuff, so quick summary. It drives like a Wrangler, it handles like a Wrangler, but Jeep has done a good job of making these feel a lot more modern without taking away that analog, easy to work on, easy to throw around feel that Jeep has. So better on the highway, and if you keep normal all-season tires, you'll be just fine. But once you start putting knobby tires on there, forget about it. Loud tire noise, all that good stuff. But overall, good driving experience. I'm not a huge Wrangler fanatic when it comes to on-road manners, but I think Jeep has done a good job with getting these to feel good on the highway. So I'm not going to bore you guys. The acceleration is just okay. The two-door is a lot lighter than the four-door, so it moves a little bit. It skedaddles, but nothing really to dive into. Enjoy it, drive it, go have fun, stop by Jeff Wyler. Yeah, see what you think for yourself. It's come a long way. It's not the crazy bouncy death wobble Jeep from back in the 90s or early 2000s. So just enjoy it, have fun, and I'll see you guys on the next one.